Hello and welcome to another match preview on Football Talk Podcast. My name is Ozzie and I'm your host for today's show. And as you can see on the screen, we're joined by a special guest to the show, Tereak. Welcome back to the channel. How are you doing today?
I'm all good, my bro. I'm all good. I'm glad that we're going to be talking about this game, man, again. But other than that, life's been good. I've got a little bit of a cold at the moment, going around and that. But I've had it for a while, I feel rough. Like I'm looking at, I'm just looking at myself here. Beard needs a little bit of a shape up and that. But other than that, man, I'm excited.
Yeah, I think everyone's got that kind of flu. Right? There's something going around in the air, or I don't know, it might be that change of weather right now because it was quite cold. I say about a week ago. So yeah, probably just that change of weather. But yeah, we're back again. It felt like we did a show like not so long ago. It's been a couple of months, 2-3 months now, hasn't it? So December wasn't it, that we did the match?
Yeah, towards the end of December, just before Christmas.
Wasn't it? So a lot has happened since then. The Premier League result that we did the match preview for ended up as a 1-1 draw. Then we actually faced each other in the FA Cup, which ended 2-0 to Liverpool at the Emirates. From that match perspective, because we haven't spoken about, what did you make of that performance?
The performance from Arsenal, I actually thought the performance was quite good.
Yeah.
To be honest, like I thought the way that we pressed you, especially in the first half, you seemed to cause you a lot of stress. You were really struggling in build up to play out the back. I know that in the second half that we saw some changes from Klopp because he had initially had Nunes, was it down the middle and then Gakpo to the left, and you wasn't really having an outlet at that point. And Arsenal, of course, like that was a story of our season, having so many chances but not quite being able to put them away. And when you don't put your chances away against a team like Liverpool, they will manage to find a way to come back. And yeah, as soon as you scored that first goal, which was from the own goal from Kivior, I knew it was game over from then, because that was perfectly set up into your hands. We're the ones having to try and push, and then you would break on us on the counter attack. So very frustrating game that was. But overall, that was in a period. That was the last defeat that we had, and we lost 3 in a row. But that was probably the best performance we had out of those 3 games that we lost. So yeah, it was disappointing, but I wasn't too much doom and gloom as the Arsenal fan base was at that point.
Yeah, no, to be fair, I remember that game well. You guys, I think first half pretty much dominate us. I don't think we had a foot in whatsoever. And then, we switched out. I think we put Diaz on the right-hand side. That seemed to switch up for us a little bit because with obviously Salah not around, we had to kind of find an alternative for that right wing. I think that was the first game we actually switched to that wing as well, and obviously scored the last-minute goal there. So, it ended up being a great result for us. Since then, what have you made of Arsenal's performance? Because in the league, it's been a bit up and down. Are you concerned by the recent run of form, or is it just one of those things where you do go through those kind of periods as a team during the season?
Yeah, I do feel like now it is one of those periods, but when you're in it, of course, like you're thinking it's like crisis mode. The emotions that you feel as a fan, you can't help but kind of have little feelings like that, even if you try and stay as rational as possible, especially being on social media. If you have a look on Twitter and the group chats, what other people are saying, you feel like it's the end of the world and Arsenal are the worst team ever and stuff. But we were just definitely going through a sticky patch, and similar to like what Manchester City have gone through when they went through their 3 games, or they picked up 1 win in like 4. I believe, because they drew some and lost a couple in there as well. So it's just one of those things that you have in the season, and I think that the issues that we face there are issues that are going to really kind of plague us throughout the season, where we're a team that are going to dominate games. Most games that we're playing in, we're going to dominate or have periods of domination at least. When we face each other, like we had periods, I'd say, in our game, and then you guys had periods. I think you guys had probably slight majority of it, I'd say. And you guys should have scored, but we had a moment in that game where I thought like we should have done better with in terms of scoring when Saka and Martinelli chance. So we haven't been ruthless or clinical in front of goal. Chance creation was a problem earlier on. That's not an issue now.
Okay.
We are getting those chances, but we're not converting them. And I've noticed that really even in the Nottingham Forest game that we just had on Tuesday. And Tuesday night is Jesus having a big opportunity, hitting the post. Jesus again having a couple of headers into the box, but not finding a target. Saka taking one touch too many. Erdegaard not quite making the right decision in the final third. So yeah, it's not even just finishing our chances, but having that bit of decisiveness where it's like what you guys have when you have the quality there. I don't know, you went through a little bit of a sticky patch yourself
Yeah, we did.
before you played us, like the Man United game where you weren't quite putting your chances away. So yeah, it has been up and down, but I think this game is a real opportunity for Arsenal. It's a big title rival, big contender. If we can kind of put those questions to bed about our finishing chance creation, at least in the 90 minutes, that will give a lot of Arsenal fans a lot more belief going into the rest of the season.
No, definitely. We did have that phase as well where our attackers were just not scoring goals. We were scoring goals from other parts of the pitch. I think we had midfielders contributing, but our front, not even front three, our front five weren't really scoring goals. So yeah, I think every team does go through those certain periods. I just realized it's 1st of Feb now, so the transfer window is pretty much closed, isn't it? Are you disappointed that you weren't able to recruit a striker, or was it half expected due to the nature of the market and teams not really investing any money this month?
Yeah, I think I do feel a sense of disappointment, but I think you hit the nail on the head with how you close that there in terms of looking at the market right now with so many teams being a bit careful with the profit and sustainability rules and the charges that Everton have faced twice, Nottingham Forest are now facing. When Chelsea aren't spending money in the market, that kind of tells you about how the market is at the moment in time. So yeah, it was kind of unrealistic for Arsenal to expect us to splash the 60 to 70 million that we need to get a striker who's going to be at the caliber to really improve us and put those sort of chances away and be a clinical forward. So yeah, it's disappointing that we didn't get to rectify it, but I can totally understand why the club didn't do that. And yeah, man, and you guys, I know your guys' squad is pretty stacked, and you're seeing it with players returning at the moment. But there's still some areas that you guys can improve on too, and you weren't able to do that in the market. In January is always a difficult time, and it us. To find the right level of quality to do so. If there's one club that tends to do it, it's you. Suarez, Van Dijk, all coming in Jan. So yeah, we'll have to take some lessons from you.
Even in recent history. So last summer we got Gakpo January, and then in the previous January it was Diaz that we got as well. Because Spurs were sort of on the run for him, so we just hijacked that deal and got that over the line. So yeah, it's not normally a window that we invest heavily in. But I think if we've got targets lined up for the summer and we see other clubs sniffing around, then that's normally when we sort of step up. But this window, I didn't expect it, because I know a lot of Liverpool fans wanted a centre back. They wanted a number 6. But the way our team's playing, I don't think it wasn't an urgent requirement right now. So, for example, we've got a young player in Kwanzaa who's come in, has done a decent job. To be fair, he's done a really good job. And then we've got McAllister, who might not be your traditional number 6, but he's making that position his own right now. So I don't think there was any plans to recruit. And obviously it goes aligned with the breaking news that we had a few days ago with Jurgen Klopp. So that's probably why we weren't investing in the squad, where he announced that he will be leaving the club at the end of the season. From the outside, what did you make of that news? Did it surprise you, or not as much? Because some fans thought that he was going to leave in due time, but for me and for Liverpool fans, I can say for sure we were in a lot of shock when we got that news.
Yeah, that was a huge shock, bro. I think it was like 11:15 Friday morning that got dropped. I think I went on Twitter, and it was just one of them. Opened my phone, went on Twitter, I didn't get no notification, and then I saw like on my page, Fabrizio Romano breaking news. That was the first time I saw it. I thought, nah, this is some parody account. The first thing I thought is, nah, this ain't real. This is a parody account. And then I scroll down a little bit, and then I see the video on Liverpool's and on Liverpool's Twitter page, and shock, absolute shock. But because I didn't know the ins and outs in terms of that he was kind of thinking about last season, like kind of thinking about leaving then and leaving it then, but because of how last season went and it didn't go to any expectations, he wanted to make sure he sees the next phase this year. And I remember the last time I heard was that Liverpool were in contract talks with him. That was the last bit of like rumor news that I heard in the rumor mill. So I was in great shock when that news came about. And yeah, man, and it's a legend of the Premier League in terms of what he's done for Liverpool, transforming a club that, a massive club in your own right and have so much rich history, but have gone through a spell of 30 years without a Premier League title, and only in the odd seasons you really competing at that stage. So yeah, and then to get over that hoodoo, unite a fan base the way he did, and play attractive football, competing against Manchester City, and there's still a story to be told on that, because it might even reflect even better if what happens, what's allegedly happening there for Jurgen Klopp. But we already appreciate that as fans in terms of what the juggernaut that he's been facing, and one Premier League title. Rival fans will banter that, and I mean I'll get involved and I'm trying to give a bit of banter, but when I'm putting on my logical hat, like that one Premier League title in that period of time with Pep Guardiola and Manchester City, with the riches that they've been putting, that's an outstanding achievement. And then winning a Champions League, everything there is to be won. And I do think you'll win the Europa League, so it will be everything possible that he's won. So yeah, man, fantastic manager. Sad news, and for Liverpool, me as an Arsenal fan, I'm like, okay, Liverpool are going to go through a bit of a transition now. This is where we need to kind of capitalize, because no matter who you get, when you get a figure like that, Oz, that's leaving a football 100%. Club, there's going to be a form of transition. That's why your next appointment is going to be very important, because yes, you Liverpool are a club that will give a manager time, and as much time really as you can. But if it doesn't work straight away and there is too much of a decline, let's say, for example, if it's a bit like last season, in some of the periods you went through, the next manager will come under so much more pressure than what Klopp did last season. And I already know there was a few fans that were thinking, you know what, it's time to be done with him now. But if that's a new manager, that even if it is a Xabi Alonso who seems like the best fit in a moment in time, you're not going to he won't have that sort of credit in the bank per se. If you know the 3-0 loss to Wolves, those types of fixtures, they're losing at home to Leeds. The pressure will tell, and that pressure can kind of expose a lesser person. So it will be a difficult job for the next up and coming months. But for now, for this season, whilst you got the remainder of him, it's exciting times for you guys.
No, it definitely is very well said. You made some very valid points. Like, I remember when I got the news, pretty much in similar fashion to you, where one of my close friends is a United fan, dropped me a DM. I haven't spoken to him in a few days, and I get a DM thinking, what's he messaging me for? And then I saw the breaking news, and I'm thinking, like what you said as well, I thought it was a parody account, because I was like, there's no way this is true. And so this was on Instagram, so I switched over to Twitter, went on Twitter, and I didn't even see tweets. The first thing that came on my feed was the video that he put up. It was like a 1-minute video where he made that announcement. I was thinking, oh my God. And I was in such disbelief that day. I saw a lot of content creators doing instant reaction videos. I couldn't process it. I had to take a bit of time to just step away. And I thought, you know what, I'll do it later on tonight. Need to get my head down. This is like some sort of nightmare. So I can't figure out what's going on. So it took me by surprise, to say the least. But no, you're spot on in terms of his legacy. Obviously, fans will banter in terms of it being where he's only won one league title, but it's the way he's transformed the team where every year we were competing. If you look at for most of his time when we were challenging City for 4 years, we had 90 plus points. So in those occasions, if you put down any other regime or any other era, we would have got league titles. It's just that we were up against probably one of the greatest teams in Premier League history. So with that said, you've got to put context into it where, we were in Champions League finals, we were playing toe-to-toe against City for all competitions. So it's never going to be an easy task to get that league title. But obviously, we got it once, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we can make it happen this year. Fans are already calling it Jurgen Quad. So, that's the talk right now amongst us Liverpool fans that, we can make it happen. But in terms of the next appointment, you're spot on. Whoever the opener is, obviously Alonso is the favorite, I think, due to his connection with the club and the fantastic job he's doing at Leverkusen. So my worry would be because the only sort of con that he has of him being the next manager is that lack of experience. So if he's going through the season where he's losing against Wolves 3-4-0, then that's a concern, right? But I think the club will take their time. I think the key for Liverpool, the manager is obviously very important in the appointment. I think the sporting director is just as important because it's not just Klopp that's leaving. There's a sporting director that's leaving. He was on a temporary contract. It was a guy from Germany, Schmacker. And a lot of Pep Linden, so the coaching staff, a lot of them. There's another guy who's been fantastic in terms of bringing together the youth into our setup, our first team fold as well. So he's been key. So he's leaving as well. So there's a lot of important cogs to our machine that are departing the club. So it's not going to be easy. I think next season, I would say to Liverpool fans, enjoy this season, no matter what happens in terms of how many trophies we win. Obviously, we're going to say quad talk and all that sort of stuff. But regardless of how many trophies we win, enjoy this season because I'm happy to say that we've had one of the elite managers managing our club for the last 8-9 years. So that's an honor itself for me. It will be interesting to see in terms of who the next manager is. But I think he's done a fantastic job. He will be missed. It's very, very difficult to replace a figure like that, like you mentioned, because you don't get Jurgen Klopp all the time. Those are very sort of special breed of managers where, the reason that he wants to leave or that he's leaving is because of lack of energy. He feels like doesn't have that same energy. And that's his persona. That's what he thrives on. And he calls his football heavy metal football. That's actually reflected in his management style as well. It's all guns blazing. So that takes a toll out of your body,
Exactly. Oz, I wanted to ask you a question in terms of, because I know everyone's like within a fan base, who do you want the next manager to be? I'll ask you the question in kind of this way. What are the kind of things that in the next criteria for the next manager do you want from them? Are you someone who can play a similar style of football to a Jurgen Klopp? Do you want that kind of philosophy to reign? Do you want something different? Do you really want an experienced manager to come in next, or a build with a young one? What are you looking for?
So I think to find a manager that replicates that heavy metal football is going to be very hard to find. I know you've got the likes of, I know a lot of fans have mentioned Nagelsmann, who has the same kind of philosophy, but that's just a philosophy. That's just the way of playing. But the thing with Klopp, he's got the experience to kind of embed that kind of philosophy to the team. Nagelsmann's a very young manager. So for me, I'd want it to be a new manager where I think he does have that same philosophy, but also brings new ideas to the pitch as well, because we've got a talented bunch of players, in my opinion, where we don't have to play the same system. We're not over-reliant on certain players. Someone that can play good, attractive football, but then also have the nous to win at any cost as well. So like Alonso, that's why I think a lot of fans are swaying towards Alonso, because if you look at his team, they play like a 3-4-2, 3-4-3 kind of formation. So that's not even a traditional formation you see in the Premier League. But he's always changed it up depending on the opposition, but they still play good football. And with Alonso, he's actually promoted a lot of the youngsters there. They're playing with a lot of freedom. So I want a manager like that where you're letting these young players express themselves, because we have a lot of young players in our squad. So even that the players that we signed in, someone like the Szoboszlai, he's only 22, I believe. McAllister's mid-20s. So obviously, in football terms, they're not old. They're very young players that are ready to make that next step up. So for me, yeah, someone like Alonso would be good. Like some people have dismissed this suggestion already, but De Zerbi for me would be a good one as well.
Yep.
In terms of his philosophy, because the way he likes to play football, in terms of the way we play, we do rely on switching the ball with long passes quite a bit. So I want it to be where, in terms of the way we set up, is not predictable all the time. We can switch it up a little bit. And De Zerbi for me has that, where he likes to play that traditional tiki-taka football, people like to describe it.
Proper build-up play, like through the
build-up play as well. So it'll be good to see that coming from our new manager, because I think we actually have those players ready to play that sort of football. I think when Jurgen Klopp signed the likes of Wijnaldum, they were players that were there to be the engine room. So they were there to be robust and make sure that teams aren't going through us in midfield. Now we've actually got technicians in our midfield. So yeah, I would say someone that brings sort of fresh ideas to the team. I think is always a tricky thing or difficult thing to do if you're trying to replicate what you already have. Because if you're trying to find that exact thing, it never pans out in that way. So I'd rather be a manager that has new ideas, a new vision to play football. It won't be just too dissimilar to what we're seeing in world football anyway, but from a Liverpool point of view, just something different that we can see, because I think there's been a lot of names linked. I've seen some wild shots as well. I'm not sure if you have, Tereak, but I've seen people saying maybe bring someone with experience, maybe someone like Jose Mourinho, and I'm thinking, no, that is
Liverpool.
That is the worst appointment I can think of, because look, I like him as a character. Don't get me wrong. From the outside, I think he's box office, but for what we built at the club, he can literally come in and just disrupt everything and demolish what we've built over the last 8-9 years. So not the guy for me, unfortunately.
Absolutely destroy everything that you built. That's what he has the capability to do. And yeah, no way. And I have seen some crazy shouts, bro, but the way that you've gone with it there, I think that's perfect. Like, because if you was to try and get someone who's going to play that heavy metal football, like nobody's better in the world at doing that than Klopp. And you'll always have a downgrade in that. You'll have more vulnerabilities exposed, or it won't be as fluid in the right way going forward. And when the team will start to turn over a bit, as it will naturally, just because some of the key players that you are that you do have that are at a certain age in their certain point in their career, you're gonna have to try and evolve things and try and play in a different way. And I think Klopp's, you know what, this is why Klopp deserves so much credit, because he's started that already. Like, this midfield that you see now is completely different in terms of profiles than what you had under the best one, Fabinho, Wijnaldum, Henderson. You got Szoboszlai. They can do that because Szoboszlai is very energetic like a Henderson, but I don't think we're seeing the best of him yet either.
No, we haven't.
For his qualities. We've seen glimpses, like at the very start of the season, where Liverpool fans got excited. Same from McAllister too. Like, I don't think a De Zerbi is going to be playing him in that pivot, or another manager, or even an Alonso, anyone that it'd be very hard to imagine him playing in that pivot by himself long term. And then even with like Curtis Jones, Harvey Elliott, Curtis Jones has taken it to a new level. And hey, man. So it's perfectly set up for whoever comes in, to be honest, because you've got the hard working, you've got the running statistics, like we saw against Chelsea, that you ran 9 kilometers more than them yesterday, something like that.
Wow,
crazy. You've got the directness, you've got the intricacy. You're sorted, man. Because Liverpool right now are one of the most direct teams in the league in terms of long balls, direct passes. But that's because you got a cannon in Trent, Van Dijk's cannon, and you got runners in the channels. Like, you can run across like the world, half the world, with the energy and speed they've got. So man, I think you've hit the nail on the head there, bro.
Yeah, one more point I think from what you alluded to as well is that there were talks of Klopp. So Klopp's revealed that he spoke to the club in November and said that he wanted to leave. So
just gonna get a tissue roll. Carry on.
Yeah, go for it. So I think for me, I think that was purposely done due to the fact that we had a terrible season last year. I think he wanted to help rebuild this team, and I think he was thinking maybe end of the season I'll leave. I don't think it was like sort of blueprinted in that way, but I do feel like he was thinking, do you know what? Let me try and improve this team, and if I choose to leave in the future, I'm going to leave them in a good place. Because if you look at the likes of Sir Alex Ferguson when he left Manchester United, the team that he left was it wasn't the old United that was successful. Obviously, they won the league title in that final year, but it wasn't the best football, the best team available at the time. So I have to give fair play to Jurgen Klopp, because that shows that he actually loves the club and he wanted to do something where he wants to leave the club in a good position and not feel like, because he could have easily left in the summer, because he went through all kinds of highs and lows last season. Last season, probably one of his worst in terms of his whole period at the club. And like you said, there were fans that were saying Klopp out, and I'm definitely not one of them, but there were a lot of fans that were not with it anymore. They were like, we need a new manager, we need some new ideas. But fair play to him, he stuck on and he helped rebuild us. And look what we're doing right now. So yeah, I in terms of the reaction that I saw from Liverpool fans, it was a bit of a mixed bag. So there were a lot of fans that were understanding, especially if you watch the interview, you kind of understand. Look, he even looks in terms of his body language that he looks drained. He's not, he's not the same Jurgen Klopp. Some fans were just like, "Oh, why are you leaving? Why are you announcing it now?" But the thing is, there's no better time to make that sort of announcement, right? You can't do it on the last day of the season, because that would be, all hell will break loose on that one. But he's done it now because he feels like it's the right time. And you have to consider the fact that other coaches and other people within the hierarchy are leaving at the same time, or are set to leave. So it gives them a window to find new jobs or find new manager, because Pep Linders could be a manager at another club. He has that credentials to do so. And you've got the likes of other coaches that could probably go on and coach somewhere else, but it gives them time to kind of figure out their next move. And it gives the club time to find out who can be the new sporting director and who can be the new manager as well. So I feel like, I'm not saying it's the best timing, but I understood in terms of why he did it in this way. But yeah, some of us fans just, got to see the human side of football as well sometimes. We forget that element where we're just like, oh, it's all about my team, it's my team. But it's not. You got to, he's given us 8-9 years of his life. Appreciate what he's done for us. But you know how it is in terms of social media. Fans can go a bit nuts when it comes to these sort of announcements.
Exactly. And in 20 years, he's been managing consecutively.
Yeah, 20 plus years.
20,
crazy.
20 plus
no
years.
Breaks. No breaks. Because even when he left Dortmund, he had a 2-month holiday. Then he became Liverpool manager. So he joined in October. So he only had a few months off. And the plan was for him to leave have a 1 year off and then come back to management, but he couldn't turn down that Liverpool job. So yeah, we'll see how it goes in terms of who the replacement is. Who do you think would be a replacement if you had to kind of be Mystic Meg right now?
All signs seem to point to Alonso.
Alonso, yeah,
it does, and I think it makes a lot of sense. Young manager. I know he's not got much experience, but hey, you're talking to an Arsenal fan who's manages Mikel Arteta, and it just seems to make sense for me. Someone who knows the club already, he's got an affiliation. You're an emotional team, you're emotional club, to be honest, not team, emotional club, where you need to have that someone who you can attach to. And if you've got someone who you've got that emotional attachment to, it makes that transition a little bit easier, because you're not always going to be looking at him compared to Klopp. No.
Yeah.
Like if you made the decision that we did and got like an Emery, which is if you got an Emery, I think he's been linked with it as well, like recently. Okay. But someone of that, experience, not top level, but you're trying to bridge the gap a little bit. It's not going to work. Yeah, no. It's not going to work, no, because you'll be moving away from your identity a little bit. So yeah, man, Alonso seems to be him for me. That'll make the move.
Yeah, I think he's definitely favourite. He's actually best mates with Arteta as well, isn't he?
They grew up together.
They grew up together. Real Sociedad and stuff. So yeah, that I think he fits the bill. Even as a player, obviously he's an elite player for us, and then moved on to Real Madrid and Bayern Munich. But for me, he's been coached by the best managers in world football, the likes of Pep Ancelotti, Benitez, Jose Mourinho. He's been managed by the best, so he's probably taken elements of their sort of coaching style and then kind of it's actually reflected in his management style because he's not pure heavy metal football, but he plays good football, but it's very tactical as well at the same time. So I like the way he plays in terms of how Leverkusen playing football. Interesting to see that he actually plays with number 10. So that's a position that we don't see a lot in this day and age where you have a traditional number 10. So if he was to be appointed, maybe we'll see a Szoboszlai playing that number 10 role. So that's the thing with our squad. Whoever comes in, I think they can mold any of the players to their style of formation. Where you've had other managers that have left teams, it's been a static 4-4-2, for example, and then you've got a big man there. But the managers that I don't want no big man up there. I want, quick wingers. I want, someone that can do different sort of play up top. So I think whoever comes in will have a ready-made squad. They can obviously add a few additions, and then we'll just see how it goes from there. But yeah, a lot to talk about in terms of Liverpool. But obviously, I think in due course we'll sort of elaborate in terms of who could be the new manager. But at the minute, it looks like Alonso is the front runner. So we'll see how that goes. Just gonna go through some of the comments. So we've got Enz, who says, "Got a show, but I'll be watching." Big up, Enz. He said, "Bless up, big up to yourself, Enz. Thank you for your support as always." Daz, it said, "Bless up, Ozzie and Tereak. Hope you're both well today. Can we do a combined team, please?" We did that last show, so I don't want to sound like a cassette player. And then it'll probably be the same team, right? If we do the combined 11.
Yeah, probably, mate. You might get a few more Liverpool players in actually because of our form.
So we'll leave it at that then, I guess, because then it'll just be an all Liverpool team then. In terms of another comment from Madison, it says, "For the guest, so that's for you, Tereak. A draw wouldn't technically doesn't take Arsenal out the running for the league, but do you get the sense that anything other than a win puts the dreams of winning the title to bed?"
Madison, I'm glad you asked this because this is something I've been debating with Arsenal and non-Arsenal fans in terms of this. And if we don't win, I don't think it's all. I wouldn't panic if we draw the game, because of the fixtures that Liverpool have got coming up anyway. That is going to be telling for them. Of course, yes, psychologically, we'd get a big boost if we do grab the 3 points. But my thing with Arsenal is that we need to go on a run of games that Liverpool, Man City can do. And as long as we do that, we will be in there by April, May time. But Liverpool will have they got a serious run of fixtures coming up now. Of course, they've got to come to the Emirates on Sunday. They've got Brentford away. I know you got Burnley after that, but Brentford away, Man United away, Manchester City at home, and that's all in by March period. You've got all of those games. So Liverpool have got some serious fixtures anyway. And if Liverpool go out of that and come out of that and they're still 5 points clear, then I'm sorry, it will be a catastrophe if they don't go on to win the league at that point. So yeah, there's still a lot more tests to go. It's a must not lose, I would say, in Madison, and a win would be great. But again, I've seen from us too many times we will win these games and then we'll face a Burnley at home and it'll be a draw, or West Ham, Fulham. We need to be making sure we win those and don't lose these, because at the end of the day, Liverpool and Manchester City faced each other in how many years? And I saw a lot of draws in that. And Man City were able to win the league. So just as long as you don't lose these types of fixtures, because it's a 6-point swing otherwise, if you're in the title race.
That's very true. I'm checking now in terms of if it's at Anfield or if it's at the Etihad. So the game between Liverpool and Man City is actually at Anfield. So so that will fail us because we have a terrible record at the Emirates. So that's a positive for me in terms of that fixture.
Etihad, not the Emirates. Your record's not too bad at the Emirates.
I got the two Arab companies.
I know. I wish you had a terrible record at the Emirates, but then you've still got to face Man United, of course, and it's because it's a derby, and who knows the state that Man United will be in then.
Very true.
But difficult fixtures coming up. in the Premier. And then you got Brighton, I think, as well. And you never really know with Brighton.
No,
They're like
you
a
never.
box of chocolates. You don't know what you're gonna get. They
So
can beat Spurs 4-2, and then they can lose 4-0 to Luton.
that was a wild result. That was absolutely wild. Yeah, so true. You don't know what to get with Brighton, especially this season. They've been a mixed bag this season. So yeah, it's so true. As I said, big up Madison. Yeah, big up Madison as always. Jake Smith said, "Bless bros, you never walk along." Thank you, Jake Smith, for your comment. We've got Shay Arsenal said, "Big up T and everyone. Big up yourself, Shay Arsenal. Thank you for tuning in." Then we've got. Oh, so we've already got a predicted lineup from Dad. So what we'll do now, we'll put that up in a second. Actually, wanted to ask you before we do that. So I don't know if there's any truth to rumors, but there was some speculation about Mikel Arteta's future, where apparently he was considering leaving the club. It was ironic because that announcement or that rumor came about when Xavi said he might be leaving Barcelona. So that's where the connection aligned there. Would you be all for that? Like, are you? I don't know for yourself, but I know some Arsenal fans are kind of like, kind of over Arteta now. He's not the one, or he's not fulfilling his kind of duties as a manager. Or would you be against it? Do you have faith in this manager who you believe will bring success to the team?
Yeah, I am with him. I'm an Arteta in, as they say, because with him, he's the reason that we're in this position right now. Major factor. When we talk about the power that Jurgen Klopp has, that's the sort of power that Mikel Arteta has at Arsenal. He was made from when he won the FA Cup. He was made from head coach to manager because Arsenal tried to go through a head coach route, kind of similar to what Chelsea do now, where they just focus on the team and we have like a whole transfer committee, kind of what you had really when you hired Klopp. But then because he was so successful, he got kind of promoted as and got more power. Since then, hence why Michael Edwards left and those things. So yeah, he's the reason we're in this position, while we're competing with the best, while we're able to sign such players like Declan Rice, attract so many good talent to the club. He's made some mistakes as well along the way, an inexperienced manager, and that's what we was always going to get. And the club knew that in terms of how they went with it. But with that, the ceiling's high, and he has taken us to this position. So I'm glad that he's here. We need to tie him down on a new contract, and I'm glad that he clarified his future. His at least his short-term future anyway at the club, with saying it was all fake news, it's nonsense, and he was upset by it. And let's be real, the situation at Barcelona are in financially, they're not going to be desirable for even a Spanish-speaking manager who came through La Masia as a kid. No. They're not going to be as desirable as an Arsenal right now. And I know people, you might be sounding deluded for that. No, look at the Premier League, the money that these Premier League teams are spending, the capabilities that we're having financially, the resources, the eyes, the all of that, and where Barcelona are in serious trouble right now. If they don't qualify for the Champions League, I don't know what could happen. We could see what's happening to Schalke right now, who might not even play in Bundesliga 3 next season because of the financial issues that they have. Like, it's not as desirable to go out there and as it once was, unless it's a Real Madrid who are still able to financially dominate and overpower a lot of more of the clubs, whereas Barcelona can't do that. I mean, today Barcelona have just lost out on a midfielder to Tottenham, Lucas Bergvall, who the 17-year-old Swedish midfielder has picked Tottenham over Barcelona. So why people? So when I say that Arteta is going to pick Arsenal over Barcelona, it doesn't sound so crazy now, does it?
Yeah.
When a player is picking Tottenham over Barcelona, so that's what it is, man. That's I'm glad he's going to be here to stay. Whether we win the biggest of trophies with him, I don't know, but we'll find out whether he's able to do it in the next season or two.
Well, that player picked Big Andrew over Xavi, so that's an interesting decision there from the youngster. But fair play to him. Got a comment here from Double D, says Tereak talks too much sense to be a gooner.
Big up Double D, I appreciate that.
Double D. Now, do you know what? I'm very selective with my guests, and I know I watched Tereak for a while now. He's got great football knowledge. So it's not just me inviting fans that are, just tribal to one team. People that actually know football, they know the game. So that's why you'll see Tereak a lot more on this channel. So yeah, he definitely knows his football. So trust me on that one. That says, Tereak, what do you think of Taylor giving the job of the ref?
I mean, who could you give the refereeing role to this weekend and we feel happy about it?
They're all shocking.
All terrible. We got away with one against you in the first game, because of the handball with Erdegaard. We got away with one, but hey, we've been robbed of a few. You've been given some, lost some. Referees are awful. I don't think they're corrupt for just one team, as we may feel. Like, I know it's easy because in the moment I feel like, oh, why are they just not giving it to us? But hey, when you watch football, even without you take the emotion out of it, you'll see it happens to others. Like Wolves tonight, they've been robbed all season. They got given the most favourable penalty I've seen this season tonight. So you win some, you lose some.
That's exactly how it is. Because even yesterday we had Paul Tierney as our referee. And Klopp certainly doesn't like him. But look, fair play. Like, he had a decent game for us, but obviously Chelsea fans will differ. They were like, we should have got 2 penalties or at least 1. So you win some, you lose some. With these officials, it just shows the level where, like you said, it's not because they hate one particular club. Well, I feel like Paul Tierney definitely hates Liverpool. But in terms of other referees, they might not just hate one club. It's just poor officials. They're just incompetent at what they do. And that's just as real as it gets. They're not good at their jobs. So they heavily rely on VAR. And in the VAR office, they don't even know what they're doing half of the time. So it's like there's no connection. It's just poor officiating. So, it is what it is. Unfortunately, it's not even just a Premier League thing. Seen it in European football where there's been awful decisions given by VAR as well. So it's something where the technology, as great as it is, it hasn't really come to terms to a lot of these referees, but hopefully in the near future it improves.
Yeah. Do you know what I feel like the need though? I hate to say it, and I don't want to discriminate, but they need younger people involved, bro.
Yeah, true.
They need younger people because at the end of the day, these referees that are here now, they refereed without technology. So that it's not even in terms of implementing it, it's just finding common sense, things that are common to us younger people that we've had a lot of technology in our younger years, like maybe late teenager and early 20s and stuff. So like even looking at phones, how my mom and dad text on their phone is completely different to how I do, and how and how efficient we are. Like even us, like I couldn't get some of these referees are the same age of as a lot of these people, as like my parents and that, and they couldn't set up a StreamYard and link to about VAR, and they'd be spending so much time trying to do that. Let the on-field referee make the decision. That's what it feels like, rather than saying, "Oh, you know what? Let's add this. Let's make this to make it more efficient or better to referee and stuff." So, they need to get fresher minds, fresher ideas in there, and if they are to improve their refereeing and officiating skills.
Especially in the VAR office, I feel like it needs to be where they recruit sort of younger people. But my question will be like, if you're a youngster, do you grow up to being a referee? Because I would not want to be a referee in any shape or form. So it's like trying to get that appeal to youngsters as well, because it's not a job that you aspire. Well, I might be speaking out of context, but you don't aspire to be a referee.
No, so. You don't. Even referees, I don't think it's aspire to be referees. Even the top ones today. So it's true.
So true. It's so true. Just got a comment here from Shay. It says, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you're new here. Appreciate that, Shay. If you're new to the channel, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And also make sure you follow the Tereak's channel as well. Ends says big up, so big up yourself. Ends as well. And then Daz said, who was the ref when we played at Anfield, Tereak? Oh, I ain't got
Was it Tierney?
I have a feeling it might have been Tierney, to be fair,
Yeah, let me have a look. I'll have a look for you for our game. Liverpool.
And then Daz actually says that I would have gave it to Oliver on Sunday. I think they're all terrible, so I don't really have a strong opinion on
I'm
referee.
with you though, Daz. I think Oliver is the best out of a bad bunch.
Out of the terrible punch, yeah,
Yeah.
it's so true.
Even that, I've been saying that for a while, and even in the Man City game, he was the referee for the Arsenal Man City one, and he missed the red card for Kovacic. So
Yeah,
it happens. So even he's
yeah,
made some horrific decisions. But Anthony Taylor is awful. He's he's awful for Chelsea games in particular. But just getting the referee now. The referee for this game, it was Chris Kavanagh. Yeah, he's awful.
That puts it there, point blank there. Madison with another comment. So it's for you, Tereak. So do you think Josh Kroenke needs more appreciation? Seems to have a concrete long-term plan with everyone and hasn't changed depending on which way the wind is blowing.
Yes, he does need a more appreciation. That is correct, and because the Cronkies have a bad rap with Arsenal fans. That people, if you bring the name up, it's like, oh, straight away you think, oh, wow, no, not these terrible people. These leeches in our club. Like people used to compare them to the Glazers, which you don't get that anymore. But yeah, because of the good job that they have done in patience and investing a lot more recently. And so yeah, definitely Madison. Madison, I love your questions. You seem like a very calm, level-headed, knowledgeable gooner. So I love that. I can see with the Arsenal top there.
So yeah, he is. Madison's been a long time subscriber to the channel. So yeah, he's a football man himself. But yeah, he always asks the so very calculated questions. It's not just
makes me think. That's you don't get that a lot, do you?
No,
do you know what I mean? Madison and everyone else.
Yeah, of course. Madison, make sure you subscribe to Tereak's channel. Yeah, you can definitely ask him more Arsenal related questions in the future. And then Shay Arsenal says, how many points did you get in your prediction tee?
Hey, you'll find out tomorrow, Shay. I haven't calculated it yet, so I don't know. So I'm not just trying to do a plug on my channel and that. I need to work it out for tomorrow's show.
No, if you haven't watched Tereak's shows, they're really good, especially the Premier League ones, because he's got a great concept where he gets the fans involved in terms of making predictions, and then they have a league table. Even if you just started watching the show, you can still be a part of the fun. And then obviously you do monthly prizes and stuff like that, giveaways. Yeah, so it's
Ozzie has been watching, now. Big up my bro, man.
yeah, of course. I have to watch your show, man. I was obviously we've been speaking over the last few months, but yeah, I've been very impressed. I like your sort of content in terms of that sort of concept. So yeah, I really like what you're doing there. So yeah, keep up the good work, man.
I appreciate you.
So yeah, so let's dive in and talk about this match. So what we'll do now is I'll present a graphic where we can predict our team lineups. We can discuss tactics and see how our teams will set up and who do we regard as the danger men in this fixture. So we'll start with Arsenal as they're the home team, and obviously Tereak's our guest. So we'll start with Arsenal. So 4-3-3 formation, or do you think Arteta might switch up on this one?
I actually think he's going to switch it up. 4-2-3-1. So more like 2-8s or two in the pivot. So like a 4-2-3-1 formation in there. Because we like that, yeah. Because we did play a 4-3-3 against you at Anfield, but I feel like however, when we played against you in the Emirates in the FA Cup, which was our better performance, he kind of went for he went for this, but he kind of switched it up in so many times because Arteta does, like these positional player managers, and Klopp does it too a lot. It's so many players moving in different pieces because. Yeah, it's like almost like no formation in a way. They just know exactly where to stand when in relation to where their other teammate is standing. So yeah, a 4-2-3-1 formation. I think that's what he'll go for.
4-2-3-1. Okay, so who's starting in goal? Is it Ramsdale or does Raya take his place in the team?
Ramsdale played well against you. I made a couple of decent saves. I think one was against Luis Diaz in the FA Cup game. However, this is my thing with Ramsdale and why Raya has been coming in and why I've defended David Raya's inclusion. That goal, the first goal, the Trent free kick that he put in, I think David Raya claims that. Takes responsibility away from Kivior there because that's a weakness of Ramsdale. Put the ball on top of him, The ball can
Yeah.
go in. Douglas Luiz has scored straight from a corner against him in that situation. Straight in. I've seen plenty of goals. Lisandro Martinez scoring a header against us. He's 5'9", and he's scoring a header because of Ramsdale's his incapabilities of claiming a ball in his area. Although he's a great shot stopper, we love him and that. But David Raya in goal for sure, in terms of how we want to play, how Liverpool want to play, get crosses into the box. David Raya for that game for sure.
Okay, no, that's I think that's always going to be the safe option there. In terms of the back four, so quickly, let me tell you the team news that I gathered today. So, in terms of midfield, Thomas Partey is close to returning to the first team fold as he's recently resumed full training. Whether he's available for this fixture is up for debate. Gabriel Jesus should be fit for this game, despite battling with a knee injury right now. So that's the news I've got in terms of Arsenal. Yep. So in terms of defense, obviously Timber is still unavailable. Who would you play in your back four?
So no Tomiyasu, he's not available as well.
He's on international duty as well.
With him and Endo still away. I think they played yesterday. Did they win? Did they beat Bahrain?
I have no idea. I'm going to check now.
Do you know, that's actually probably. I thought they played Bahrain yesterday, and that's actually probably a good thing to check because otherwise,
they won 3-1.
Ah, there you go. Okay, then. Yeah. So they won't Endo or Tomiyasu won't be available for this one. No. So it's going to be the centre backs. They're easy to pick for me. Gabriel at left centre back and William Saliba. I can just say as well, William Saliba probably had his worst game for this so far this season against Nottingham Forest. He looked a bit shaken up a little bit, and Awoniyi caused him. He was at fault for the goal for me for the Awoniyi goal. But Gabriel's been excellent this season, outstanding. So that partnership is on its day. Is quality up there with yours, but I think because of Van Dijk, like the factor he's had, and Konate in recent weeks has been immense as well. So man. But top class centre back partnerships we'll see on both teams. But the fullbacks for me, Ben White at right back, returning back to his best now. And what we see, because I think what we saw since the kind of winter break that we've had, even against Liverpool, he was okay when we played against you, but still not the Ben White who's going to be overlapping, providing that energy. He's not getting as tight to his winger when he's in 1v1 situations. He was standing off of Luis Diaz a lot when we played you at Anfield. And then, when Curtis Jones did his thing, like I think again, because Ben White didn't want to, he kind of lacked a little bit of mobility, but he's brought that back now. We're seeing the more overlaps, and hopefully he'll start to have a bigger influence, kind of like what we saw in this last season when we played you at the Emirates in that. And left back, he's going to have to be out of necessity, but I think he can have a big part to play in here as well in Zinchenko. Of course, a lot was made of Zinchenko for the goal that was scored with Salah. Goal, switch over his head. But I also thought Gabriel could have done better in that moment there to help him, support him. Gabriel more for support, whereas Zinchenko was the one who backed off, allowed Salah to get into the box, allowed to get in that position, although it was a fantastic ball from Trent. Zinchenko is going to have to be having a big game. It most likely will be Diaz playing on that right side. We'll see. We'll see what you go for. You think the team's going to be. But in the midfield, okay, this is the reason why I've gone for a 4-2-3-1. Because I think it's going to be Jorginho on Rice. So Rice on toward the left of that midfield, and Jorginho. Because that was the midfield that played against you in the FA Cup. And I liked it. I like the balance that it gives us, because Rice is someone who, athletic, still can improve in certain aspects on the ball for me that we kind of missed without Thomas Partey. His progressive passes, playing it through the lines quickly and sharply. He's not awful at that, Declan Rice, but he's not at the level of Thomas Partey, who was when he was on form last season, one of the best DMs in the world at doing that. Declan Rice, that adds that physicality that helps us in defensive transitions. Jorginho is someone who's a very good passer, and partnering up with Declan Rice can kind of carry that sort of load. And when Liverpool come with a high press, Jorginho can play out of it. And if you can't play out of it, he'll fall over and win the free kick, and it will annoy a lot of Liverpool fans. But you know when players do that, and they just throw themselves to the ground and get the free kick. I hate it in football, but Jorginho's good at that. In that sort of 10 role, and who's going to be floating, it's going to be our skipper, captain Martin Ødegaard, who was decent, I thought, at Anfield. He was better than he was last season when he was at Anfield in that 2-2 draw. He was better. I still think, and then the game at the Emirates, I thought he was quite good in that one there too. Having more of an influence on the game, and in his early times at Arsenal against Liverpool, he's not had enough of an impact in our games, I don't think, because we know he's got his quality, but he does have that capability of going missing, and you can keep him quiet. But last 2 games, he's grown in more of an influence. So yeah, he's going to need to do that again on Sunday if Arsenal are to get the 3 points. Up front, again, I know I'm kind of leaving the wingers till last, because I'm stuck on the left basically in terms of what to do. But up front, it's got to be Gabriel Jesus if he's fit and available. On fire, man of the match against Nottingham Forest. Should have scored another, but again, we both know about strikers missing big chances in big moments. But the fact that he's getting them and having an influence on games is what I like to see, and can cause a news because he's a difficult kind of striker to mark, because he's not someone who's going to be trying to play off the shoulder or stay pinning the centre backs. Drops in deep, poses different questions. We saw the Jesus that we loved last season against Forest odds, drifting wide, other players taking his position, really having that freedom and looking to really move around. I think he's kind of lacked that again, because he's stop-start season through injuries and trying to regain his fitness, and he's still kind of doing that now because with the knee issue. But yeah, he's playing through that, and he's still playing at a high level. Right wing, of course, Saka. That goes without saying, really. Like again, need him to have a big game too, because Liverpool, I think, again, he was really good in all moments against you at the Anfield, sorry, and then he had big chances at the Emirates, but he should have done better. So we're going to need a sharp Bukayo Saka there, and now finally going over to the left. Okay, what do I do here? What do I do? Because Martinelli wasn't good against Forest. Trossard was very good coming off the bench against Forest. And I kind of like Martinelli coming off the bench now, whilst he's not in his best form. Adding a little bit more impetus, sharpness. But you know what? I'm going to go with Martinelli to start. I was thinking of putting Trossard there, but I'm starting Gabriel Martinelli. He's in a rough patch of it. I know he scored 2 goals against Crystal Palace, but that also came off of the bench. And I was kind of thinking maybe we could add him off the bench there and let Trossard do something. But I think he will go for Martinelli and really try and have our best players available and trying to go for it. And then maybe we'll have a Thomas Partey to come off the bench, a Trossard we can still have come off the bench, Havertz. That's more firepower, though, Oz, than what we've had against you in the last 2 games. True. Do you know what I mean? Because we had Martinelli against you, but we started Havertz. Jesus was out injured. Zinchenko was injured. So we only had Trossard, really. And then when we faced you at Anfield, we had Trossard come on. But then we had to take Jesus off, and we had to bring on Nketiah, and Havertz was starting already. So you're not going to bring on Jorginho to add more power or physicality, which is what I think we lack. I spoke about this on here last time. You guys have P&P to bring on off of the bench. We haven't had that due to injuries really this season. So hopefully we can have a bit more P&P to bring off of the bench that can have an influence if the game gets stretched at all. So, yeah, man, that's the team that I think Arteta will go for, and that's the team that I'd go for too.
I thought you were about to drop a bombshell by starting Trossard there, but in terms of your lineup, you're close. I can tell you're close to say it out loud. but I can see why you presented this team. It does make sense having Jorginho, where I feel like it can be a little bit disrespected, I think, because he's not sort of easy on the eye, because obviously he's getting older, doesn't have that same kind of speed in his game. But in terms of his distribution, he still has it in his locker. So for me, he'll actually be a good sort of forward to have alongside Declan Rice, and I think they would form a good partnership.
Yeah.
Odegaard playing a more free role will give him the freedom to roam around the pitch a bit more rather than occupy a certain side of the pitch. So that would be quite pivotal. And yeah, Jesus, obviously, I know a lot of people think he's not a lethal number 9 or however you want to phrase him, but for me, he's still a potent player up top. He always has a good game against Liverpool, regardless what shirt he's wearing. So he'll definitely step up in this fixture. And a good thing with Jesus, in my opinion, is that he can attack the channels either side, and then you can get these 2 wide players interchanging with him if required. So a bit of flexibility in terms of the attack in front. And in terms of your back 4, yeah, obviously with your left back, there's not much choice. Timber's not available, so you've got Zinchenko there. Yeah, obviously he's probably happy Salah's not playing in this one. He's probably still got nightmares from the last time they faced against each other. Yeah, Gabriel, and Saliba, arguably alongside Van Dijk, Konate, best partnership duo in terms of defense. And yeah, Ben White, I think since the Liverpool game, since we did the match preview, after that he's actually gone on and started being a bit more consistent going forward. So yeah, interesting lineup. What about Smith Rowe? Because I thought a lot of fans were pleased with his performance against Nottingham Forest. Is it unfair that in terms of your team that he doesn't start, or he could be used as an impactful sub coming on off the bench?
You know, I completely forgot about him, you know, in terms of being an impactful sub. I didn't even mention him. But yeah, in terms of this game, 100% he'll have to come off the bench for 2 reasons again, Oz. One, he's still lacking match fitness. It was his first start and he was kind of flagging a little bit against Forest. And yeah, I know it's a shorter turnover and he's coming up against the most intense side in the league. And 2, defensively, he still needs work. Do you know, Smith Rowe is in a point where I'd say Curtis Jones was about 2 years ago, maybe 1-2 years, a year or 2 ago, where Curtis, I think Jurgen Klopp said, all Curtis Jones needs to do is learn how to defend. If he can learn how to defend, he'll be a quality player. And I remember speaking to Liverpool fans, and Curtis Jones was like people made him like a meme. Like he was like, oh, you're just an average player. Like about a year ago, like, oh yeah, we will have to sell Curtis Jones. You know, fans rate him and that. But look at him now this season. He knows how to defend. He can press it effectively. And we know he's skilled, talent on the ball, and he's dribbling, driving, putting the ball in the back of the net. Those are some of the traits that Emile Smith Rowe has. And I know Curtis Jones, the same thing with him. He struggled with injury and trying to get minutes and remain fit. So if Smith Rowe can move past those injuries now and then improving his out of possession play, then maybe we're talking about Smith Rowe having a real impact in this team, because he's got the talent. There's no doubt about that, is there, Oz, in terms of score? Trick, like he can drive through pressure, turn, glide, score goals, left foot, right foot. He's got a good movement in the box too. But yeah, man, he just needs to get some consistency. And hey, I'm glad you brought him up, because that's another player we could bring off of the bench if we need to chase for a goal or something.
Yeah, I think the comparison with Curtis Jones is a fair one, because similar age as well, I believe. And in terms of their development, always had the potential, but injuries unfortunately has kind of slowed it down a little bit. But with Curtis Jones, he's really taken that role. I think the absence of players like Henderson that left the club, he maybe thought, this is time for me to step up and show my quality on the pitch, because playing again under those players, we were playing a very restricted style in midfield where it might not have suited his skill set at the time, where he's a very technical player, plays with flair, likes to carry the ball across the pitch. In the previous midfield regime, it wasn't really the type of player we were looking for. In fact, we were trying to mold him into like a Gini Wijnaldum successor, and it didn't quite work at the time. But he's kept himself fit, and he's been one of our star midfielders this season. And it's really good to see how he's flourishing this season.
Do you know where it started from as well, Oz? that game against us last season at the Anfield. That's where
Yeah,
your run started, wasn't it? From
yeah.
then,
That's when
but
Xhaka pushed Trent as well, isn't it? That's where it all started from, to be fair.
from that moment, Curtis
Yeah,
Jones went on a good run, got it to the
yeah,
back post, and that's where Salah tapped that in. But yeah,
yeah,
man, Curtis Jones, serious
yeah.
levels of improvement, and we're seeing it this season. And yeah, what a player, man.
Well played indeed. No, he's added goals to his game as well. So yeah, very, very pleased with how he's doing. He's got a few more comments there. So we've got Shay who says, I see you in tomorrow for the Premier League prediction show. Yeah, make sure you tune in. I'll definitely be tuning in tomorrow as well. Jay Kismet has says, we're beating that Arsenal side 2-0. Okay. Fair enough. Setting his chest there. All right. All right. Well, I see that. And then George says, Odegaard, of course. And of course, Jesus himself. And big up yourself, George. And then Dad says to Jake Smith, your predictions need to be in for the weekend. So I think they're just having a conversation amongst themselves. And George says the defenders, of course, Smith, White, Tierney, and Tomiyasu. And then Rice 2 would do, and Havertz. So different kind of lineup in terms of what you presented there. But yeah, I actually think your team's quite spot on. I think it could definitely cause us issues. What I'll do now, I'll present my team, and then we can kind of reflect in terms of if it is a 4-2-3-1, how we would go up against that. So what I'll do now, I will move the graphic, and then I will share my one. And yeah, let's chop it up in terms of the Liverpool team. So here we go. So 4-3-3 formation. I don't think we'll be switching up anytime soon. That is our normal traditional formation every game.
I'm very interested in seeing this. You know, as I am.
Yeah.
There is some selection headaches
from
the last game, especially.
There certainly are. So I'll do the safe option. So Van Dijk obviously starts in this one, and Konate will be alongside him. Now, Liverpool fans, drop a comment. Let me know who you'd pick in the fullback areas. For me, I'm sticking with the guys that I played in the previous game. I'm sticking with Bradley on the right-hand side, and I'm sticking with Joe Gomez on the left-hand side. And the reason being is they both have rhythm right now in terms of how they're playing. They're playing to the highest of their abilities right now. So I think it would be unfair to just bring them out of the fire line just to reinstate Robertson and Trent just because they are traditionally our first choice players. They've made a couple cameos since they've returned from injury. I don't think they're fully up to speed, if I'm being honest. Even when Robertson came out, he looked good, but I don't feel like he could do the course of a 90-minute game, in my opinion. So I don't think this is a game where I would personally rush them in. I'd prefer to play Gomez and Bradley. Bradley's had, I think he had 2 assists in this game. London game yesterday, had a couple assists in the previous game as well. He's actually a crazy stat, Tereak. He's actually got more assists than Odegaard this season. Can you imagine that?
Hey, that's a good stat, you know.
That's a crazy one. So yeah, when I heard that, I was like, what? That is wild. But it's showing his impact coming on. He's playing with no fear whatsoever. Defensively, and I think you might remember as well, he made that appearance against Arsenal where he was up against Martinelli, and it gave Martinelli pretty much no impact on the game after that. I think it was the last 15-20 minutes of the game.
He stopped him.
He stopped him.
Mm-hmm.
He stopped him. So that is a player where I feel like he can probably keep Martinelli quiet there. So I'm quite confident to have a more traditional right back where Trent is a right back, but we know Trent has more to his game where he likes to be more in field and have more of an influence in the overall picture. So for me, this will be my back four. Does that surprise you, or did you expect this to be the selection I'd go for?
I'm still surprised a little bit. It's just because not with the Joel Gomez thing at left back though, because I think, you know what, since he's coming, and it was since that Tsimikas injury, I think he's giving you some of that balance a little bit more.
He is,
because he's not a left back. He's a centre back who can play out wide, and it gives you that balance. Like whether it's kind of Bradley or Trent going up inverting, it's a proper natural fit rather than when you have a Tsimikas or Robbo there. So, yeah, man. But the kind of Bradley thing, the reason why I'm a little bit surprised is because I don't know if you ain't gonna start Trent then, are you?
No, I'm not starting Trent.
And with someone like Trent and his ability to impact games, which you saw against us twice already this season. I know you could do it in the final 30 minutes, but that goal for Salah, that one pass, he's got that. Defensively, we know he's a bit of a 1v1 Martinelli. I'm confident, much more confident against Trent than I am against Bradley because of what I saw from Bradley against Martinelli. But Konate is there to cover, and Konate did an excellent job at Anfield. Whenever we beat Trent, Konate is there, wiped up. Martinelli had no impact. So yeah, man. So the little bit just because of Trent's quality. No knock on Conor Bradley because I don't know how you've done this, man. Yeah, you've got another right back who's quality, who had 2 assists and a goal against Chelsea.
Yeah,
that was great. That performance was ridiculous. Defensively as well, 1v1.
It's fantastic.
Sterling, see you later. Like with Sterling with a point to prove. Nah. I'm sorry. He got another special one. Different profile to Trent. He ain't like I know people are saying Trent regen and that, but he's more of a Robertson, I think.
Yeah, that's a great analogy. That's literally what I was about to say. He's a right-sided Robertson for me, where he bombs down that flank, but also his quality on the crossing is really good. But it's not even just the technique that he crosses it, it's his understanding of the game, of when to go forward, when to make that certain pass, when to go infield, and when to position himself, against the fullback, or if there's a right winger that's trying to stop him, what to do against him as well. Like, he's got a great understanding of the game. So yeah, he was very highly regarded at the club, but he had an injury at pre-season, so we were expected to see him a bit more earlier on. But the way he's just come in at the perfect time as well, we were in my opinion, very heavily reliant on Trent and his creativity in the middle of the park, or even as a right back player. But it's good to see a traditional right back come in and still be as influential as Trent on the pitch. So I'm not going to get ahead of myself saying, we've got the best right back in the league or anything like that. But I feel like what he's shown, he's doing it up against Chelsea, did it against Arsenal, against Martinelli. So he's definitely made for this level. So look, long may it continue to how he plays. It's a great headache for Klopp, because I think after this fixture, we've got Burnley, then we've got Brentford, and then we've got Luton Town. So these are the games where you can embed Robertson and Trent back into the first team for. So that's my thinking, where you want to play your best players against the teams like Arsenal. But I feel like we've been in such a great run. I feel like let them continue, let them keep going in terms of playing their best football right now, because we can switch it up. So my thinking is that if it's still 0-0 at the hour mark, bring on Trent, bring him in the midfield if you got to bring him in the midfield. Bring on Robertson if you need a bit more creativity or width on that left-hand side. It's good to have these options. And this season, the difference that I feel like we have from other teams is our subs, the impact that they have when they come on the pitch. Whether it's an attacker or defender or whatever the position is, they've definitely made an impact this season. So I'm sticking to my guns in terms of letting Joe Gomez and Conor Bradley flourish. I'm saying it out loud, Joe Gomez will break the deadlock this season. He will score a goal. When will it happen? I have no idea, but I'm still rooting for my guy there.
Sunday? No, I hope not.
I hope so. I hope so. That'd be amazing. Jake Kisman says Bradley and Gomez, so he's gone with the same for me as well. And Dad says rest Trent, give him 30 or 20 minutes. Okay, another one there. And then Jake Kisman says Bradley is more of a Sunday league type of right back, not smooth, but knows what he's doing. Cross for Szoboszlai on the half volley. Yeah, he's a traditional right back. That's what it is, because we've got accustomed to seeing a different style of right back where he can do everything, right? You don't really see that in world football. So Bradley is what we know, or what we've grown up in terms of what we watch football. Traditional right back, good defensively, good attacking wise as well, has a great engine, and I think he's only going to improve. Even that goal that he scored against Chelsea was a sweetly hit shot as well. So for me, the sky's the limit for me. It's not even, I think he's got a lot more to give to this team. So yeah, very, very interesting to see how his career pans out. And obviously, whoever the next manager is, they've got another gem in their hands as well next season. So
exactly.
Let's move on to midfield. So I mentioned no Trent in midfield, so I'm going to stick with McAllister as our number 6. And then for me, it will be Curtis Jones on the left side
Yeah.
and some Bosley, who, like you said, has shown glimpses of his ability. I'm a big fan of Bosley, so I've been following his career when he was at Leipzig, even before, because we were linked with him years ago when he was at Salzburg.
Yes.
So I was always aware of him from those days. So always followed his career. I just like the fact that I like players that have good long range shooting and they can actually score bangers as well. So those type of players I've always had a liking towards, and I've always followed his career in terms of what he's done. And for me, it was always a dream signing, and thankfully he is in a Liverpool team. So I feel like last game he picked up more rhythm. His set pieces were a bit questionable. He couldn't beat the first man in the corner kicks, but other than that, I feel like he's finding his rhythm again. So yeah, very, very exciting proposition. Curtis Jones had another good game against Chelsea as well. Ran the show, in my opinion. McAllister going toe to toe against Enzo. Enzo was probably still in his back pocket right now, if I'm being brutally honest. So gotta let him out sooner rather than later.
I watched that Bournemouth game, and that was the most impressed I've seen
McAllister. Oh, what a game that was! His performance, yes,
ridiculous level. Yeah. I was going to ask you in terms of midfield. Okay, so because McAllister picked up a little knock on his knee, I don't know how serious that might be.
From what I've heard, he seems to be fine. I think Klopp normally would say after the match that he's got a bit of a sore knee or whatnot, but it seemed to be fine. So we've not heard anything in terms of him being a precaution. If let's say he's not available, then I go put my guy Trent in midfield. That would be my alternative, but I don't want to overburn Trent as well because he's just come back from a hamstring injury and those type of injuries as well. If you go that extra mile to kind of push your body, it can have some negative effects on you as well. So for me, slowly embed these players. The good thing about our team or our squad this season is that we're not heavy relying on anyone. We can kind of come out with different solutions, different personnel, different positions. Like you mentioned, Joe Gomez, not traditionally a left back, but has done a fantastic job playing that role, played right back for most parts of the season as well. Centre back is a traditional role. He's played that, but he can pretty much play anywhere he wants. He's even done an inverted role at times. So yeah, he's a man on a mission. He's trying to get that goal as well. He's taking more shots than normal. But I like to see that positivity coming from him. So yeah, hopefully he breaks that deadlock very, very soon. Just gonna go through the comments here. So Jay Kismet has gone with the same midfield. And he said exactly, I'd put Trent in midfield if McAllister is missing. So yeah, it remains to be seen if McAllister is not available. So, but if he is, I would still go with McAllister just because you mentioned that Bournemouth game. That was a 10 out of 10 performance. He was phenomenal in that game. So yeah, if I see that McAllister, then yeah, it's going to be a long night for Jorginho, unfortunately, when he goes toe to toe against him. And then up top, I'm sticking to my guns. So I'm going with the same front three. So I'm having Jota on the right. I'm having Darwin Núñez, Captain Chaos, whatever you want to call him, up top. And then I'm going for Diaz as well. So in terms of my thinking of this front three, the Jota role that he's playing right now, he's not playing on the byline. He's not playing like a traditional winger. He's got a free role. So he's coming up more in field. And you've got Szoboszlai taking that area, and then you've got Conor Bradley, even if these guys are switching over, and Szoboszlai's covering him at times. So Bradley is actually providing a width at most times. So that's going to be a key, I would say, move from Liverpool where they allow Jota to have that free role, have an impact. Last game he scored a goal, but then he also helped us get a penalty as well when he got fouled in the box. So very, very influential in this position. Darwin Núñez, he's going to cause havoc. He's going to be on the shoulder. I know he takes a million shots, hit the crossbar like 4 times yesterday. It's an area where it's very fine margin because a lot of them they hit the post or the crossbar, but the shooting wasn't wayward where it was going, hitting someone's head in the crowd. Most of them were on target. So I like his attitude in terms of he keeps going, doesn't really let that affect his mindset. Where if he's missed a chance, then never mind, I'll get another one. So that's a very special trait to have in a player. The thing is, as he gets older, he needs to kind of, we can't call him a raw striker when he's a lot older. He needs to refine that finishing ability. needs a bit more composure for me up top, where I feel like he's a bit erratic with his finish, or he rushes the shot too soon. And sometimes when he gets the ball, he's overthinking what's his next move going to be. So play your natural game, play with a bit more instinct, and have a bit of composure up top. But in terms of what he's performed for me this season, I think it's been fantastic. And you mentioned Saliba didn't have the best of games, so hopefully having a traditional striker like Nunes up top might give him another off day in that one as well. And for me, Diaz on that left side. I know you've said Ben White's picked up form, but I feel like Diaz can definitely trouble him in that game, attacking that byline as well. So if he's attacking on this side, it's creating a space here where Curtis Jones can exploit and get into a position on the edge of the box. And he's doing it quite a lot where he cuts in and takes long shots, and hopefully he can convert one as well. So for me, tactically, that's how it makes sense. Because you've done a double pivot, I feel like trying to keep these two guys quiet will be a difficult mission because they're so energetic. But then you can have McAllister coming in as well, teaming up and just making it into more of a flat three rather than him playing as a DM. So that he can kind of be that extra body in midfield and provide a bit of uncertainty in the middle of the park. So for me, there's a lot of variations in our play. We've still got players off the bench, so some fans might want to see Gakpo given a chance. I think this is not the game for Gakpo to start. If we need him, he can come off on the left side or he can play up top. Yeah, I think this is the strong outfit we have. We've got Robertson and Trent that are back in the fold now. We've got Gakpo that can come on and do an impact. Got Harvey Elliott, who hasn't had the best games in recent weeks, but has always been energetic and always had an impact whenever he's come on. So he can play on that right side if we wanted a left-footed winger on that side. So we can always just swap Jota and put Elliott on that side. Or Elliott can play this number 8 role where Szoboszlai normally accommodates. So lots of variations in terms of how I think the team will set up. How do you see that team? Do you think that's the team that could trouble Arsenal, or do you feel like with your setup you're able to content the firepower we have?
Do you know what? I actually think all the players that he picked, that's the team that I fear the most. Well, Trent, I'd probably put Trent in terms of all the ones that I fear the most. But in terms of the front three, I wanted to speak to you about this because I can see Dazza says, "Would you put Diaz on the right?" Yeah. I think when you moved Nunes out to the left, Jota was in the middle, and then Diaz was out on the right. I think that's when you look most threatening because Nunes is unpredictability and his pure athleticism in terms of speed and strength over over Ben White is why I think he caused Ben White a bit more issues in that sense than what Diaz was do, because I know Diaz can cause issues in terms of, but how Ben White would defend him is like, okay, I'll let you run in the byline and I'll make the block on the cross. I'll do that. Whereas with Nunes, he does the cut inside, shoot. He can go down, beat him on the outside, run across him because he's got that pure speed. Whereas with Jota, when he played down the middle, that's when Saliba I thought was excellent against Nunes in the first half when he was down the middle. When that switch made, the first thing that Jota did when Jota came on is he got Saliba booked. And I went, this is a different problem now for you, Saliba. I think a much more like a striker that relies a bit more on intelligence in terms of where he's putting his body rather than using his body to try and out-muscle him. Because when Nunes tries to do that against Saliba's really quick, really strong. He can match him for that. Whereas when Nunes does that to White, he beats him. And then with Diaz on the right, I think if we play Zinchenko, having that speed, that directness out there and in the transition will cause Zinchenko a bit more problems. But hey, that I'm sure it might, if Klopp did start it as like that, because there's so much fluidity and rotations with that front line, you can see plenty happen. So hey, there's always room to change it in game, isn't there?
I think what you said is spot on because we did play that against Bournemouth to set up that. So we had Nunes on the left, and I think we had Jota in the central area, and then we had Diaz on the right. but it didn't work for some reason. I think maybe because it was at Bournemouth and the pitch is a bit smaller.
Yeah.
We didn't really have that much of an impact, so we switched it up. But that's the beauty of our attackers right now, where a lot of rival fans would say, "Oh, we're very heavily reliant on Mo Salah of the goals. We've not had him at the club for a few weeks now, but we're finding solutions. Whether it's Diaz on the right, Jota on the right, they're doing a job. They're making it work in terms of how we're setting up as a team. So that can certainly work for me. I think because we're not playing with an out-and-out winger, I feel like having Jota in a sort of free role will provide a lot of uncertainties to Zinchenko, because even when Salah would go toe-to-toe against Zinchenko, Salah would come in and become that inside forward, and Zinchenko would just not know how to mark him as well. So whether it's Diaz or Jota, I think targeting Zinchenko, no offense, will be the player that will get, I think, a lot of success. And then with Bradley as well, if there's space on that side, he will exploit that area going forward as well. So look, there's a lot of tactical, I think, awareness from these players. That's so good about our team right now, where we are very quick to adapt to different positions, playing a bit more free-flowing positions, which is good at times. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very exciting game. Just going to see a comment here from Jay Kisman. Says Darwin and Jota interchanging left and centre with Diaz on right. So pretty much what you've just said there in terms of these two setting up. And who else? I think Daz had a comment as well.
That is the reason why I went for the double pivot, is because I want Rice covering that side, the side that Zinchenko's on, the side where you'll be overloading us a lot, I think. And then Jorginho's in there to provide that balance. So man.
Double pivot makes sense actually, to cover your fullbacks as well, where if they do bomb forward, then you've got the two midfielders to cover, and then also from an attacking point of view, they can cover those the ground and try and double up if they need to, rather than having your centre backs being those type of players to form a partnership with your fullbacks, because I think they'd want to be solely in the central area and not let the shape of the team get affected by runners on the wing. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting tactical battle, to say the least. This was Daz's lineup from earlier on, so he wanted to see Alisson, Bradley, Ibu, Van Dijk, Gomez, McAllister, Dom. So you got Ryan / Jones. So that's Gravenberg. So that's interesting. I still go for Jones. I think he's in a better form right now, and I feel like Gravenberg will be a player that comes off the bench and can have an impact. But I'd definitely start Curtis Jones. And you've gone for Diaz on the right. You've gone for Cody / Jota in the middle. So you're undeciding that one. And then you've got Nunes on the left. Okay, so that's an interesting lineup as well. So tactically, I think it's going to be an interesting battle, because me and you might have predicted these teams, it might go completely left, and it's completely different to what we've said, because that's the quality of players that are on the show right now, where we've got players that can play different roles, different systems. So regardless, it's already an exciting counter, but tactically, I think that's the one I'm going to be looking forward to in terms of how both managers set their teams up, because it's always an interesting battle between Arteta and Klopp.
And I feel like this game, the subs are going to be massive. The subs are going to be vital. If Arsenal can bring on a Thomas Partey in the second half to power up, for the Jorginho, the impact that Thomas Partey made in 20 minutes against Man City won us the game. In that one, if you guys bring on a Trent and Robbo, you know how crazy that is, and then the quality that you have there, and then if we're able to Havertz, I know Havertz is a player that it gets bantered a lot within the Arsenal fan base and rivals, but has the ability to creep up with a odd goal and scored some big goals already this season. And then you've also got Cody Gakpo, Gravenberch off of the bench. You know what I mean? So serious, man. I think this is going to be a game for the subs too.
Yeah, I think they will definitely have an impact on this game. So so that's our predicted lineups. Let's go and reveal our score predictions. So Tereak, what scoreline are you predicting for this fixture?
Okay, head. Well, I think I did a head and a heart one last time, and I said if my head said a draw, and I think it got that, but my heart, I'm going to go on my heart again. Yeah.
Okay.
And hopefully my heart prevails this time. I'm going for a 3-2 Arsenal win. Goal fest. Yeah. I think
Okay.
we're going to finally put some good chances away in the back of the net.
Okay.
You're also going to score against us because you're attacking firepower right now. I think without Salah, you look more balanced in a way.
Yeah.
So I think because when you don't have your goal scorer, your focal point in terms of goals, it's kind of like, oh, okay, I need to step up now. Jota
Yes.
always does it anyway. Jota always scores against Arsenal. And the fact that he's fit, he's scoring a goal. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's as simple as that. It's like everyone else takes on that mantle. And I feel like sometimes when you play with Salah, don't get me wrong, like he's a quality player and it works. You win more games than you won't without with Salah in your team. So,
Yeah.
but I feel like because he kind of forces it to go towards him a little bit because he makes runs for himself to pick up the ball. He's got the creativity to do it as well. Don't get me
He
wrong.
does.
Whereas it's a bit more fluid without him. And that's what I've seen against Bournemouth and Chelsea. So you've scored 8 goals in two games without Salah. So fair play. But yeah, you're gonna miss, in the moments where to score those goals. You obviously he's got that clutch moment in him. But yeah, man, I just feel like there's gonna be 2 goals, and I think Arsenal can score 3. So 3-2 to Arsenal. And that's my heart. But if I went for my head, a draw, a 2-2 draw.
Interesting lineup there. In terms of my prediction, I'm going for 2-0 to Liverpool.
2-0.
2-0. I think the way our defense has been right now is what's giving me that positivity that we'll hopefully claim a clean sheet, because I don't feel we're playing all guns blazing. It's going to be very tactical in terms of our setup. I think you'll probably have a lot of the possession in the first half. And I think second half is where we really start going all guns blazing, where we go on that front foot and play aggressively, press harder from up top and try and get the goals. So kind of similar fashion to the FA Cup game, but I don't think it'll be, I think it'll be a bit more tighter in terms of our defense, where we won't be conceding a lot of chances, because you had a lot of chances in the first half. So that's something we need to learn from in terms of that fixture. In terms of my goal scorers, I'm going for Darwin Núñez. He'll probably hit the ball posting in, because he likes it in the post. So I think it'll just get that rub of the luck and hit the back of the net. And I'm going for our gunman, Diogo Jota, or Diogo, whatever you want to call him. I think he'll score in this fixture as well. So interesting predictions. You've gone for goal fest. Hey, I wouldn't mind a goal fest, but I don't know if my heart can take those kind of those kind of results right now. I want it to be as plain as simple, especially in this, because we've got so many games coming up. So yeah, it's getting intense now. We're in February now, only a few months to go until the season wraps up. So yeah, very important games.
Thing. I thought Nkunku off the bench yesterday was brilliant, and that was the only threat that Chelsea had. And again, it's that style of forward who isn't who's going to sit on trying to run in behind every single time. It likes to drop deep, can hold the ball up. Jesus, we didn't have him in that game at the Emirates. This one we're going to have him here. And yeah, man, I think that could again like Van Dijk. He was still amazing. Don't get me wrong, but then the 2 dubious decisions, I'm like, ooh, hopefully he can do that again. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, and Nkunku is a good shout, because I remember when we were linked to Darwin Núñez, and Nkunku was actually one of the players I thought would actually fit Liverpool to the T in terms of how we play, playing that central role, because he traditionally played as a number 10, but he can easily play as a number 9, but be so effective where he actually knows how to link up as well, and but he's a finisher in front of goals. So yeah, Chelsea got a good player there. It's just that they don't have the team to match his ability right now. I won't say unfortunately, I would say more fortunately than anything else. So yeah,
definitely fortunately, yeah.
Fortunately, definitely. Daz has given us his prediction. He says 3-0.
That would
all
hurt.
right. Diaz Nunes, and Van Dijk. I was going to say 3-0 earlier, and I was going to say Gomez to get the third goal, but I'm thinking I'm stepping a bit too far now.
Bro, you man are flying high, top of the league. You only lost one game, and that was a robbery all season. So, bro,
exactly.
You deserve to have confidence right now, man.
Definitely. But yeah, that's a wrap up for today, guys. So thank you to everyone for tuning in. So many comments today. Thank you to likes of Ensman, Des, Madison, Jake Kismet, Shay Arsenal, Double D. And yeah, thank you for your comments as always, guys. And George as well, sorry. I appreciate your contribution today, guys. If you have any, please don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel. Thank you, Tereak, for coming on the channel. It's been another long show, but I feel like whenever we go on together, we can talk football for a long time. We could probably do this all night if we really wanted to. But yeah, please let the people know where to find you on social and also where to find you on YouTube in terms of your channel.
Again, Ozzie, absolute pleasure. Thank you for letting me come on again and inviting me. I always love talking football. The fact that we were here for an hour and 35 could have been longer if it wasn't for me running late, people. My bad. It's not my fault. I'll take responsibility there. But before I tell you where to go, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to Ozzie as well, guys. But you can find me at Tereak Talks, just there. Tereak Talks and on YouTube, X, anywhere you can find me. I've got a Premier League preview show coming out tomorrow. It will be a pre-recorded one, guys, but what we usually do is get people involved in the chat, so go check that out. And whilst you're doing it, when you click on that in the comments, if you just put your predictions, you can be within a chance of a £20 gift voucher for the end of February, and February is a shorter month. So if you get your predictions in at least throughout February, and if you like what you see on the channel, you can get a £20 voucher to spend at any store of your choice, essentially. So yeah, appreciate you again, Ozzie. Love for the invite again, man.
No problem at all. Yeah, please, guys, make sure you subscribe to Tereak Talks. As I mentioned, I've tried to watch as many shows as I can. His sort of concept of getting you guys involved in the chat and predicting scoreline, and he's giving giveaways as well. So it's entertaining in that aspect, but also he's rewarding you guys for your loyalty in terms of watching his shows. So yeah, please make sure you subscribe to Tereak Talks. And yeah, this won't be the last time he's on the show. I've had him a couple of times this season. Yeah, we'll certainly chop it up again. Hopefully it's a good game. I won't say good luck too much, but let's hope it's a good game and we enjoy the fixture. Yeah, it's going to be very impactful in terms of how both of our teams' season pans out. Because if we lose, then it might just be Man City's going to win it. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how both teams pan out. Just going to go through the comments. We've got a couple more. Jake Kismet says peace to both of us. All good, Jake Kismet. And that says, Tereak, do we need to put scorers as well? So who are you going for in terms of your goal scorers?
In terms for this game, I'm going to go for Jesus, Saka, and I need Martinelli to score as well. So the front three for Arsenal. Jota's definitely going to score, and I would say Szoboszlai, banger. But in terms of if you meant for
show,
for my show, then no, you don't need to put the scorers, bro. So Daz, just put the score. So like Arsenal, Liverpool, you can put 3-2. You can put the scorers, but there's no extra points given for that. So yeah, so it's totally up to you.
Yeah, that's fair enough. So thank you as always, guys. Take care, stay safe. I will be doing a match reaction 10 p.m. On Sunday. So Tereak, if you're available, feel free to jump on as well. Even if you've lost and you need to get things off your chest, I'm here to provide that platform for you.
You're a much better place to talk to you rather than even some of my own fans, bro. So trust me.
That's fair enough. But yeah, as always, guys, take care, stay safe, and I hope to see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.